To help inspire your own creature and their habitat, I have a story that I would like to share with you about my favorite bird, the loon, and the habitat that the loon often lives in. And it's in a story called Loon Lake. And this story is by Jonathan London and illustrated by Susan Ford. Loon Lake. I'm gonna scoot over a little bit. And I want to thank Chronicle Books for allowing me to share this story with you. Rain bird, rain goose, call up a storm. These are names native people of the north give to the loon. That is what Papa tells me. We watch the sun sink, setting fire to the clouds, and hear a loon's call. I cup my hands around my mouth and try to make the loon's crazy yodeling laugh. Across Loon Lake, Loon laughs back. I've never seen a loon up close. It's getting late, but we set out to find him. We ease our canoe into the quiet northern lake as the full moon rises and spills a bright path on the dark water. We dip the blades of our paddles, dip, glide, and slide through the moonlight near the shore. There's an old Tsimshian story, Papa says, about how Loon got his white necklace. I keep paddling as I listen. An old man had lost his sight and asked for Loon's help, Papa says. Loon was a magical bird and gave sight back to the old man. And for this, says Papa, the old man gave Loon his precious shell necklace. The white shards of shell adorn his feathers to this very day. In the moon shadows, we see something move, the slightest ripple. I stop paddling, and so does Papa. Our canoe glides, and the something glides with us. An otter! His shiny nose and whiskers arrow toward shore. I glance back at Papa. He puts a finger to his lips and grins. We see a quick gleam of moonlight on fur as Otter slithers out of the water and into low brush. Again, something moves in the shadows. Again, just a nose and whiskers dragging a soft ripple. Buck teeth in the moonlight. Beaver slaps his tail and goes under. We start paddling. Something else moves in the shadowy water. A loon, I whisper to Papa, a rainbird. Slow, slow. We paddle toward the loon. But before we know it, he's gone. There he is, diving under the water. There! He rests in a nest of stars on the still water. We try to paddle closer. Dip, glide. But whenever we get too close, Loon quick dives quietly and bobs up in another spot. Now I glimpse him floating behind a screen of reeds. We paddle toward him, silent as the moon. He rears up, shakes his head, flaps his wings, then settles back down. 50 feet, 45, 40. At 30 feet, we stop paddling. Can you see who he's protecting there in the reeds? There's a family. Suddenly, Loon glides out, followed by another, and another, and another. A family, I want to shout, but I don't. Instead, I hold my breath. Whoosh! The Loon family takes off, running on water, their splashes flashing white in the moonlight. I breathe deep, and we turn back toward camp. After supper, around our campfire, Papa whittles a stick sharp and hands it to me. I spear a marshmallow and hold it over the flames and imagine Loon and his family. Just then, Loon's wild, eerie wail pierces the night. I glance up and see a dark cloud passing across the moon. Rain tonight, says Papa. Later, we curl in our sleeping bags and listen to Loon's haunting cry and to the first drops of rain as they tap against our tent. Rainbird, rain goose, call up a storm. Good night. The end. So based on that story by Jonathan London and Susan Ford, we know that the habitat of the loon is somewhere around water. They made a nest in the reeds, and they share the water and the lake or the river or the pond with otters and beavers and frogs and herons and lots of other animals that live in that same habitat. What sorts of other animals do you think you could find in the same habitat as a loon? What sorts of things might a loon eat? Think about what you might find, in a bigger lake. Loons generally live in bigger lakes. They like to have lots of space for diving and taking off and flying. So use that story and anything else you have already learned about different habitats and different animals to come up with your own creature in your grab and go bag. It can be a real animal that exists here on Earth, or it can be your own creation, something you can come up with all on your own. And then come up with the different things that animal might eat or use to make a nest or a home, or things that it might not want to encounter. Maybe there are predators around that it needs protection from. So think about all of those different aspects of a habitat when you work on your very own grab and go bag.
All right, 4th through 6th graders, we had such a tremendous feedback about last week's grab and go bags that I'm very excited to show what this week's grab and go bag is. It is inspired by an activity found in this book called Rachel Carson and Ecology for Kids. And in your bags this week, you get to invent a creature and an ecosystem. So your bags will have this brainstorming sheet, and it's going to help you figure out what you want your ecosystem and your creature to look like. The different behaviors and characteristics that it will have, and what it does in that ecosystem, how it has survived, how it adapts. You'll also get other activities as well, some coloring sheets and a Lego challenge and a science experiment as well that you can try out with your family. So what sorts of things do you have in your bag this week that you can use to create your creature and the ecosystem it lives in? Let's see, each bag, like last week, is going to be a little different. Everybody's going to get some tissue paper, some straws and pipe cleaners. There's googly eyes and buttons and paper plates and little boxes and different die cut shapes. There might be buttons or popsicle sticks, yarn, there might be crepe paper, there might be construction paper and scrap paper, all sorts of different fun things, just like last week, that you can use to create your own creature and its ecosystem. I would love if your adults are okay with you sending us pictures of what your ecosystem and your creature look like. So if you get permission, please send them to us because we would love to see your awesome inventions and creations. Have fun. Thanks for watching.